Oh, welcome to the show tonight. Keith, I see you're already here and ready to go. Glad you're here, man. From peptides to pep boys, I love that, man. That's really cool. We'll give everybody just a couple of minutes, see if anybody else is going to join us tonight. Keith, thank you very much for the suggestion to do on extended warranties. I think it's funny. I've actually had that discussion about service contracts and extended warranties with several people this week, and actually had a couple of people that had them on their vehicles, and have actually we've had to work with some of those companies this week. So it's a great topic. Well, I'm showing it's 6 o'clock. Hey, see some people are coming on. That's great. Welcome everybody to the show. I want to thank again Keith, one of our loyal subscribers, loyal listeners, for giving me the suggestion to do a show on vehicle service contracts. Before we get started, just a couple of little shout outs. I want to thank Wendy, who reached out to me on one of my videos recently. She's a subscriber to the channel, has been with us since we did the winter storm this past winter. So, Wendy, a big shout out to you. Thanks for reaching out to me. Don't know if you're going to be on here, but it was great to hear from you. Couple things too. If you're new to the channel, if you're just joining us, I would ask that you would hit that like button on the video. Feel free to leave a comment or get in the chat with us. Share the video if you think it'll help anybody, and subscribe to the channel. Big shout out again. My podcast, I'm not have no paid endorsements for the channel, but I'll give a big shout out, of course, to Embody Healthcare. They're a direct primary healthcare service here in Knoxville. Dr. Michael Major and his wife, nurse practitioner Melissa Major, they're mine and my family's medical providers, as well as about half the people in our company, Knox Horizon. Knox Horizon Complete Auto Care. That's mine and Deb's business, and that's what provides us with a living, so that I can get on here and do this, because I have money coming in from there. So that's where our income comes from. At Knox Horizon, we do all kinds of auto repair, everything from your basic maintenance, such as oil changes, tire rotations, to brakes, to alignments, to tires, to engines, to transmissions. You name it, we do it. Anyway, welcome tonight. Let's talk about extended car warranties, or what they really are is service contracts. They're called extended warranties, but really what they are, they're service contracts, and it's really an insurance. You're basically buying what's equivalent to an insurance policy that can cover a lot of repairs that you may need on your car at some point in time. Most extended warranty service contracts start once the manufacturer's warranty expires. You can even buy them on pre-owned vehicles that you're buying. You can buy one. Some cases, your manufacturer's warranty and the extended service contract will run together and overlap. And of course, since the factory warranty will end at some point, you might want to consider purchasing one. One thing I can say about them is that not all the companies, we deal with a lot of extended warranty service contract companies, and they're definitely not all created equal. There's also different levels that every one of these companies have that you can buy. And I can tell you now, if you buy the cheapest level of any of these companies, you're not going to get the coverage that you think you're going to get to. We've had several people that there was a plan out there, and I'm going to be honest, I can't remember which company it is at the moment, but they had like an $88 a month plan, and it covered very basic things. There was nothing main in it, and we had a lady in here that she had a suspension issue. I think it was the drive axles in her car, CV axles, and they weren't covered under the plan she bought, and she couldn't understand why. When we got her to bring her paperwork in on it, and we saw she had declined all those other optional coverages. It covered very basic things for her. So that's unfortunately, that's where that is. So you've got to be careful what you buy when you're buying one of these coverages to know what you're getting. So service contracts are a good idea in theory, but that extra protection can be expensive. And a lot of it depends. If it's on a new car, it's normally not as expensive as it is if you got putting it on a pre-owned car. When it comes to pre-owned cars, it not only takes into the age of the car, what the make and model is, but how many miles are on that car. And most of the time, if you're buying it on a car that you already have that's a pre-owned car and you want to get a little extra protection on it, there's normally a waiting period after you purchase it before it goes into effect. Some are 30 days, some are 1,000 miles. It really varies from company to company as to what that is. So it's, in talking about that, we talked a little bit about how your warranty may fail to cover everything that could go wrong with your vehicle. And one thing that I've not seen one that covers, and that's vehicle maintenance responsibilities, what you're responsible for, oil changes, filter changes, tire rotations, and checks. Your regularly scheduled maintenance is not going to be covered by that warranty, and there's kind of a, people think when they buy that warranty, it covers everything. They think they're going to get their oil changes for free. They think they're going to get all this stuff done, and it's just covered by that warranty. But normal maintenance things aren't even covered by your new car warranty. Now, with the exception, there are some car dealers out there that they sell from their own dealership. They have a warranty that they put on those cars that does include your maintenance and stuff, but that's through a actual like a Nissan, Ford, Chrysler, whoever dealership, and that's something that they've come up with on their own. That's not from the factory. I've never seen a factory warranty that has come that covers any kind of maintenance things on a car. And these extended warranties or service contracts don't either. There may be one out there, but we've not ever run across it, and we deal with dozens of these companies on a weekly basis. I tell people always read the fine print to know what it covers and stuff. A couple of things we'll talk about too is know what your warranty says you have to do when something breaks or happens to your car. We had a gentleman that brought us a vehicle in here. It was a Ford Explorer, I believe, that had a bad engine noise in it. And here's the problem. So he had a warning light come on. It actually told him stop driving the car. The computers in today's cars track when these things happen, so you have a history of when did this exact problem happen, how many miles it was driven after, and what happened. So because it came up and point blank said on the screen on his dash, stop driving the car immediately and have it checked, he kept driving the car for 1,440 miles, and that voided his service contract. So he had no coverage on it. So basically, he ended up having to pay for a new engine out of his own pocket. And I think the service contract when he bought it was somewhere between $3,000 and $4,000 on top of the car price itself. And so, it was because he ignored that warning light, and because it plainly said in his paperwork, if this happens, here's what you have to do, or it voids your service contract. And so he avoided one of those things by continuing to drive it after it said, and messed up several things in the engine. By the time it come to us, it was beyond repair, and so it cost him. He was out that $3,000-4,000 he paid for that extended service contract out of his pocket because he didn't read the fine print and he ignored the warnings that his car gave him. Car warranties, I kind of say sometimes they're similar to health insurance coverage. In some ways, they are similar. Health insurance is really to be used if you have a catastrophic emergency in your body. It's great if you break your leg, you go to the hospital, you're covered. So your vehicle service contract, or extended warranty, as they're called sometimes, kind of does the same thing. We actually have a vehicle in today. Actually, we had to call the gentleman has service contract on it, and he brought in for a couple of different problems that it had. One was a bad window regulator, and the other one was a broken coil spring on the front. And he had bought the premium top of this warranty that they offered, and it covered both of those problems. So he did what was right, got the vehicle in when he noticed he had a problem. We diagnosed it, and so there you go. So Keith asked, so if it's like an insurance policy, the person selling it to you has to be licensed in your state? No, they don't, because they're backed by a insurance company, but the service contract itself company is not actually an insurance company, and you don't have to be. Most of these companies, though, I know with AUL, which is one that we show, we sell AUL. That's one that we actually sell. We've had great success out of them. It'll tell you now, we did have to do a little thing to learn how to sell it, but we don't have to be licensed or anything. But it does tell you on the back of the contract, I'm reading it right now, all service contracts are backed by an A-rated insurance company. And you can select any licensed repair facility, and then they can give you a call if you have one of these warranties. But just talking about it, I'm going to open it up and just tell you there's different levels, and this is what I was talking about. Different levels to this contract. You can buy their powertrain warranty, which covers the engines, turbocharger, supercharger, transmission, transaxle, transfer case, drive axle group, hybrid electric vehicle group, and seals and gaskets. Some of them. Then you can go up to the Sterling package, which includes everything I just talked about, but then it also includes brakes, power steering, air conditioning, electrical systems, and cooling. Then you go up to the next level, the estate level, which covers everything we've just talked about, plus front and rear suspension, enhanced electrical, and hybrid electrical vehicle group, more stuff than what the first one covered. And then the reserve, which is their best one, covers everything, plus a ton of other stuff, and it's all in fine print, but there's a ton of it there. And so, again, it just depends on what level you buy on a lot of these products, and a lot of them cover the same thing. Like this one, all four plans include towing, flat tire change, emergency fuel delivery, battery jump service, key lockout service, rental car, trip interruption, and then there's optional coverages you can buy. It's amazing, and that's why I tell people, please read the fine print of the contracts and see what's covered in them. Don't be surprised if you buy one that's just powertrain, and then your air conditioning goes out and it's not covered, because they're very clear in all these contracts how it works. So Keith said, a friend of mine was trying to buy one, and he asked about if paint was covered, and they hung up on him. So there are none that I've dealt with that covers anything on paint. And that's because, when we're driving, we get nicks, dings, and everything from gravel and stuff and road. So I don't know of anybody that covers anything on paint that way. I know there are some collision centers that cover their paint with a paint warranty, but that's from any kind of defects in the paint itself. Or if there was a mistake when the paint was put on, if there's a manufacturing defect in the materials, it covers that, but there's nothing that will cover the paint from just everyday wear and tear that I'm aware of. If anybody's listening and they know of one, I'd love to know about it. So that kind of tells you about the different levels. And a question that we get all the time, which company's the best company? And I can't really answer that, because we've had good and bad luck with every company we've dealt with, and we've dealt with We've dealt with Car Shield. Everybody hears their commercials all the time. AUL, of course, Route 66, and a host of others. And what we find, again, it depends on what level plan that people have bought. I can tell you now that that on some of them, AUL is a little different. Even their lowest plan, covers quite a bit. But I can tell you there's some of the companies out there, and I'm not going to mention their names, but it's the majority of them. If you buy their lowest level, like I said earlier, there's one that I think they have their lowest levels like $88 a month that you can buy something. It covers almost nothing. As a matter of fact, anybody that's had that coverage from them, and I can tell you now, if you go to purchase one from them and they tell you the different levels and you see one's around the $80 to $90 range, you'll know who I'm talking about, and don't buy that coverage. Now, people that buy the higher end on every one of these, we've never had a problem yet getting something covered as long as the customer didn't do something to make the matter worse. So another thought too is it will tell you too when you buy one of these extended service contracts or warranties, and this even goes to your original manufacturer's warranty when you buy a car. I don't care if it's Ford, GM, Chrysler, Nissan, whoever. If you modify that vehicle in any way from how it came from the factory, it will void your warranty. So that means if you lift the car, unless there's an exception, if it's a factory accessory you can get that's provided by the manufacturer in the factory, that doesn't void the warranty. But if you go in, you get aftermarket. We have a truck right in here right now that he's put extenders on his wheels. They stick way out. They rub every time you turn it. Guess what? The warranty's voided. No warranty covers that. They're all in all the fine print of every one I've ever read. It says point blank, if you modify that vehicle, it is not covered. You void any warranty or service contract that's out there. Some of the things that that your extended car warranty won't cover, if you're in an accident, that's what car insurance is for. Natural disasters, again, now we're going back to car insurance. Again, we've already talked about installing custom modifications. Those things will not be covered. That car has to be original, and that's what we have a lot of people that just don't understand that. Especially we have a lot of lowered and lifted vehicles in this area. And as a matter of fact, we here at Knox Horizon will not work on modified vehicles. Part of it's a liability issue. The other one is it's not the factory specs, especially when we're trying to do alignments, or if we have a newer car that has your forward-facing radars, cameras, and everything. That vehicle, before we can do any of that, has to be to the specs it came out of the factory in. As a matter of fact, when we're doing the advanced driver assistance system calibrations, it has to have a full tank of gas. It has to have all the equipment that came with that vehicle in the car. We can't have any extra weight in the car. If you have let's say if you have a jug of windshield washer fluid in the back, we have to take that out before we can calibrate any of those systems. So again, if you modify that car, it's going to void your warranty. And I've seen it happen time and time again, but a lot of people just don't understand that. So let's ask, is it worth the cost of buying an extended warranty? I think that if you have an older car that's over, most factory warranties are, cover the car at least up to a minimum of, I think the lowest one I saw out there, and I can't remember which car it was, 36,000 miles. A lot of them are in that 60,000 mile range. Some of them are more. But if you've got one that's reaching toward the end of your factory warranty, I would consider, if it was my personal vehicle, getting an extended warranty or service contract, because it does, if you get the right one and you read the plan thoroughly, it will cover things like the engines, the transmissions stuff. Because if you start just some average prices that I can tell you about, if you have something that goes out, and we replace these things on a big basis around here. So let's say your engine, it ends up, let's say your engine goes out, blows up, and you have to have a new engine. You're talking $8,500 plus to put an engine in that car if we're talking about a remanufactured engine. Transmission, transaxle, you can be talking $5,200 plus. Power steering, $1,200 plus. Air conditioning, I quoted 2 AC systems today where the compressor come apart and put trash throughout the whole system, and one was $1,500, the other one was $2,100. So there's a lot, when things go out, it costs a lot of money to fix them. So in those cases, you know, if you have one engine failure, one transmission failure, your extended warranty service contract is paid for itself. Yeah, up north, Keith said, up north, if people put a snowplow on their vehicle, it voided the warranty. And that's very true. I've seen that happen. Now, the only thing I can say is there were some truck manufacturers, and I can't remember the exact ones, that they made that accessory for them. So again, it was a factory-approved accessory, so it didn't void the warranty. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. There are manufacturer-approved accessories that are sold through the manufacturer that won't void your warranty, but an aftermarket one that may be identical or close to the same kind of accessory will void the warranty. And it tells you that in your warranty if you read the fine print. So again, it's important to choose an extended warranty that covers a broad range of vehicle systems and parts. And I always tell people too, if it offers a if it offers a rental car benefit, I would add that on to it, because we've had several people, especially when we're talking about engines, transmissions, you know, a lot of times we have to order those. We're still having problems sometimes with parts availability, especially on engines and transmissions. Sometimes we're having to wait days or even weeks, and we had one that there were no engines available for a vehicle we had here, and it took 3 months to get it in. So the customer was without a vehicle for 3 months. But it's like he said, it was a big truck, and it was still cheaper to replace the engine than it was to buy a new truck. But he didn't have rental car coverage, so he was out the money also for the rental car that he had to have while we had his vehicle, because we couldn't get the parts in. So most extended warranties are designed for pre-owned vehicles, or they kick in, like we said, after your new vehicle factory warranty expires. So there are some drawbacks, and this is another thing you got to look at. Some of them can have very large deductibles, so you got to look and see what the deductible is on there. Limited coverage, so again, it pays to see what exactly am I buying, what exactly is covered. Unnecessary coverage overlap between the initial warranty and extended warranty. Make sure that that extended warranty kicks in once your factory warranty expires. A lot of people never use the warranty, and I think that I read a while back that that these companies, of course, do risk analysis before they sell one, and I think it's up to 65% of the people that buy one never use the service contractor warranty for anything. And some of that's because they get rid of the vehicle. Some of it's because the vehicle doesn't have a major catastrophic failure, because they do the routine maintenance on it, and they keep it up, and they make sure all that's done. There's also on some of them can be depreciation clauses. So the more mileage your car has, the less money your warranty will provide for repairs, and just a ton of things that you got to read the fine print in all these warranties. So let's see, what else can I tell you about these things? And I apologize too if I seem like I'm kind of all over the place. I woke up with a migraine this morning. I've had it all day, and I've worked here at the shop all day, and we've had a good day. But yeah, I'm still feeling the effects of that headache, so I apologize for that. The biggest thing I'll tell you about these extended warranties too is weigh the pros and cons when you're reading them. Make sure it covers every major system on the car, especially if you're going to get one that you want to get the minimum you can. engines, transmissions, or electrical things are the biggest expenses you're going to have on there, especially the powertrain group, the engines, transmissions, drive axles. That's where you, if something fails, you're going to end up spending the most money. So I would definitely recommend that you get something that will cover those items especially. And that's kind of it in a nutshell. There's not a lot of there's just that's kind of what they are. One thing I would say while we're on here, and I'll talk about this too, and we have this happen a lot. These extended warranty companies, service contracts, every one of them that I know of, the customer, and Keith, you put in here, also call them. Don't wait for them to call you. You don't know who's calling you. Yeah, I totally agree. We've all gotten that call, I think, of, hello, I'm calling to talk to you about your car's extended warranty. And it's somebody from India or somewhere, and you don't even have a car that has an extended warranty on it in the first place. I like having fun with them when they call me, and I like having fun because, matter of fact, the last one I got told me they were calling to talk to me about my extended warranty, and I asked them if they knew how to get blood out of carpet. That throws them for a loop. Have fun with them if you want to, if you have the time. Mess with them a little bit. But I'm kind of twisted sometimes, so I like to mess with these people because they're trying to waste my time. I tend to, if I have a few minutes, I waste their time when they call me. This is something I was going to say too. The car, for these extended warranty companies and stuff, the car has to be in the shop. We have to diagnose it, and the first one, one of them ask us is, do you have the car in the shop? So before we can even call and start a claim, we have to have the car here. We have to diagnose it. And unfortunately, we have, and I've seen this multiple times just this week, where a customer wants to diagnose their own car, tell us what's wrong with it, and then just thinks we can call their extended warranty company based on what they've told us. That's not how it works. We're not trying to take your money for just diagnosing your car. You may be exactly 100% right, but that company, whether it's AUL, whether it's Car Shield, whether it's Route 66, no matter who it is, the first thing ask us is that car in your shop, and what have you found? They don't want to hear from what the customer has found. And I'll tell you now, they'll do it every day. That'd be funny. Keith tell me I got a lime green Vega. That's awesome. Back when I was younger, I had an orange one, a Vega wagon. I'll never forget that car. That was an interesting car when I was younger. But the car has to be in the shop before we can even call, the extended warranty company and even get a claim started. And a lot of times we had one week before last that had a timing issue, and they'll do this, even though we sent them everything we had, they still sent an inspector out to look at the vehicle, and he agreed with everything we said. So that's the other thing too. They will send inspectors out if there's any question about what you've diagnosed, or if they want to know more. These companies will send inspectors out to look at those vehicles. But customers, and it's a good thing too. Do you charge the customer for the diagnosis of the problem? Most of the time, here's how we handle that. I will charge for the diagnosis unless they decide to get it repaired with us, and then that diagnosis will go toward the repair. But if they decide, as a matter of fact, we have one today that the customer, in talking about customers diagnosing their own vehicles, he diagnosed it as having a bad flywheel. We got the car in. Of course, we're going to verify that. We're not going to take a customer's word for it because we want to know what's really going on. I don't just throw parts at vehicles because that's a good way not to fix them and a good way to make people mad because you didn't fix their car, even though they felt like they knew what was wrong. So we got in and found out the noise wasn't coming from the flywheel. It was coming from the lower engine. And we think it's an oil pressure problem because when you increase the RPMs, noise goes away. When you don't, there's a knock in the lower end of the engine, and I think it's an oil pressure problem. So we told him what we wanted to do to verify that. He totally disagreed with us and decided not to get any of that done here. So yes, I charged him for the diagnostic fee because we had to spend time finding out where the noise was really coming from and stuff. Now, had he chosen to take our advice, and even where the flywheel is on this one is a Ford Fusion, there is no inspection plate to get to the flywheel. The only way you can get in there, the easiest way and the cheapest way for everybody, or least expensive way, is to remove the oil pan so you can look at the flywheel, look at the lower end of the engine and the oil pump and all on that particular one. And he just declined it because he knew better than us. That's fine. You know, I'm not going to stand there and argue with him or anything else about it, but it's like, you know, you brought it to us for a reason. And we have a lot of customers that come in, and this is something else that will void those extended warranties. We have customers that will come in that, it goes back to the modifications, they will try to do a repair themselves, and they don't really know what they're doing, and they mess up more than that. And once and that's one thing these companies will ask us, has the customer or anybody else worked on the vehicle? And we ask them, and if they have, we have to tell them, and that voids the contract and warranty too. So you can't do your own work on your own vehicle and get it done. It has to go just like on the back of the AUL contract right here. It says point blank, select any licensed repair facility and have them give AUL a call. If you're doing it in your driveway, that extended warranty and stuff won't cover anything on that vehicle. Has to go to a licensed automotive repair shop. But we had a great example of that is we had a gentleman brought a van in. This was last month where his rear brake pads had to be done. Now, this was a newer vehicle. He was used to working on cars 20, 30 years ago. What he didn't know is on this particular vehicle and a lot of the newer vehicles, when you replace the rear pads on this vehicle, you have to have a diagnostic scan tool, and I'm not talking about one of these $50 tools that you can pick up at the auto parts store. We're talking about $1,600 to $5,000 scan tool that can put the rear calipers in service mode, and in some cases, it actually rewinds the pistons back into the calipers so the rear brakes can be replaced. Well, he didn't have that and didn't know you had to do it, and he ended up destroying the hydraulic system in his vehicle, and what would have cost him maybe a couple $100 from us to do his rear brakes ended up costing him about $1,500. So again, new cars especially with all the computer controls and everything else, if you don't know what you're doing, you can trying to save yourself a few bucks, you can cost yourself more money than what it's worth. But also, that gentleman had an extended service contract, and when they found out that he did that, that voided it. They wouldn't pay for anything. So Keith, you ask, let's see, do they pay you direct or do they pay you with your name and the customer name on the check? How is payment received? Depends on the service contract. They do pay us direct. Most of those, they give us a credit card over the phone, or we ACH it, and it's just deposited in our bank account. And it really depends on the one. Most of them just pay us with a credit card over the phone once the work's done. I think I've covered about everything. I mean, there's not a lot to the contracts. It's just the simple things. Read the fine print in them. Know what you're buying. Buy enough coverage to cover the major components that's going to go bad. And just remember, if somebody offers you one for $80, $90 a month, it's not going to cover the major things that would go wrong in your car. I've never seen one yet. Maybe you can say, but do they pay you the regular price or do you discount your service for them? Oh, I don't care to answer that. Some service contracts do have a labor rider in them where they will only pay a certain amount of the labor bill. We've not ran into that yet. They all do pay our full price, and we've not discounted one yet that I'm aware of. There are some exceptions if there's something that we're having to do that the customer is having to pay for because maybe part of the repair is covered by their extended warranty service contract, and then they're having to pay for something else. A lot of times we will discount the customer's portion to try to help them, so that they don't have to take such a financial hit because it's something they weren't planning on. Just like any unforeseen expense and stuff, we do try to help our customers that way. One thing I would say too, we do a lot of fleet business here. We have several fleet accounts that we do. And we probably give more discounts than any repair shop that I know of in this area. Fleets, we give them a discount because of the volume of work they bring us. 55 plus, we have a discount. Students, we have a discount. First responders and military, we give 20% off of our services. So that's something to remember. Knox Horizon Complete Auto Care at 4701 Clinton Highway here in Knoxville. You can visit us on the web, of course, at knoxhorizon.com. Keith, thank you very much, man. You can ask as many questions as you want, man. I'm going to do my best to have a good night and see if I can finish getting rid of this headache. Yeah, there's a lot that goes into these things, man. And Keith, I appreciate you so much and just the input you always have. But this is a fun topic. So next week, the podcast will probably right now be pre-recorded. I do have I have an engagement that I'm supposed to be at that's at the same time I normally do the podcast. So whatever I do for next week, and Will got 4 or 5 topics that people have brought to my attention, and I'm just not sure which one I'm going to do yet, but I'll get that posted as soon as I can so that people will know about it. But next week's will more than likely be a pre-recorded show. And but I want to thank everybody, whether you're watching this live or whether you're going to watch this later. Thanks for joining. Again, I would tell you, if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to my channel. Hit that like button if this video has provided you with anything. Feel free to leave a comment in the comments below and share it with anybody that maybe you think could benefit from finding about service contracts, extended warranties. The other thing I would say, that if anybody has any questions about that, you can actually give us a call at Knox Horizon Complete Auto Care. Our phone number is 865-219-6999, or visit us on the web at knoxhorizon.com. And we'll be glad to answer any questions we can. I don't care if you're here in Knoxville or wherever you're at. You know, our job is to help as many people as we can. And if that's just with information, we'll be glad to do that. As always, if you have any thoughts or anything about topics you'd like me to cover, or you just have any comments, questions, you can always reach me at through email at info@randyjustus.com. That's info@randy, RANDYJUSTUS.com. And I look forward to hearing from you guys. Thank you for being on here with me tonight. I hope everybody has a fantastic night and a great week coming up. And